Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I'm finally ready to do my full review on this gorgeous little guy. So this is the Monterey Bay Knives EZC 1.5. So this is an updated version of their EZC, hence the 1.5. It's a Ray Laconico design. From what I've come to understand, Ray Laconico is actually heavily involved with Monterey Bay Knives, I think. I don't know, I feel like I've heard that. But I haven't done a copious amount of research to substantiate that claim, so maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't know. I think Ray Laconico is very involved at Monterey Bay Knives. This knife was loaned to me by my buddy LeftyEDC. He will be linked down below. Kevin is a good friend at this point. He and myself and Kyle from DTOM Knives and Gear, we talk constantly, like pretty much all day, every day, and we're just always making fun of each other and talking about knives and having a good old time. So he has a channel now. If you weren't aware, you should be. Kevin's knife videos are awesome, and he is a sarcastic dude, and he makes it fun. And he comes from the perspective of being a lefty, although he reviews a lot of righty-only knives, which is kind of hilarious. So this is from Kev. He'll be linked down below. I've had this knife for a couple of weeks now. It's taken me a little bit because of it coming kind of during the holidays and me going on my trip up north and all that stuff, but I'm ready to do my full review on it. I've carried it probably 6 or 7 times realistically. Every time I've carried it, it's been back left pocket because it's just super comfortable there. This is secondary size knife for me, and I haven't done a ton of cutting with this because it's kind of a pretty loner, but I have done a little bit. Kevin was fine with me doing some normal EDC stuff with it. So I've opened some boxes with it. I've processed a little bit of cardboard with it just to see how it did, kind of slicing through. And I think I opened a Barbie with it, which means I did like some little rubber bands and zip ties and stuff, but that's about it. So this version of the EZC 1.5 has the marbled carbon fiber, which I think looks pretty cool. I dig marbled carbon fiber. The first time I can recall ever seeing marbled carbon fiber, or forged carbon fiber as they called it, was Lamborghini, who I think says that they invented it. They put it on the Huracan Performante, which is a crazy car. Those are sweet. So it's a cool material. It's kind of high performance in my mind, and it looks nice. It's super lightweight. One thing I will say about this particular marbled carbon that is on this knife right here is it's like the more I look at it, the more little voids I find, especially kind of like right here on the frame. I don't know if they'll show through it all. I don't think any of them are like structurally a problem, but it's definitely not like a perfect material on here. This does have nested liners internally. The show side one is milled out. It has a bunch of holes drilled in it, and then the lock side one isn't because it has the liner lock tab. The clip on it is going to be a milled titanium clip, which I think looks really good. We'll talk more about that when I talk about carry. And then our blade steel on this guy is M390, and it's really nice. It's a full flat grind, very Laconico blade shape going on here, and it's just super simple and looks very pretty in my opinion. Comes down to be nice and thin behind the edge. It's just a good profile. So yeah, let's talk ergos first. Ergos on this knife are stupid good. It's like the most neutral possible handle shape. It's just, there's no way I can hold this knife that it doesn't feel comfortable in my hand. It's a rectangle that's rounded. It's very comfortable in hand. So ergonomically, this knife is going to be a total win. Unless you're looking for a knife that like really locks you in, then no, this knife is not super locked into my hand. I don't feel like this knife is very slippery. This material has a decent kind of natural grip to it. It's got the groove on the show side, which my fingertips kind of lock into a little bit. So I don't feel like this knife is slippery, but because this handle is so neutral, it's inherently going to have less, like there's no swell here at the back to hold you in, there's no finger grooves to keep you locked in. It's just a relatively slick profile is the best way I can think in the moment to say it. So yeah, ergonomically, I really like it. I feel like for what this knife is designed to be, for being kind of a gentleman's EDC, lightweight, literal like everyday folder, this handle's great because this isn't a hard use knife. It doesn't look at all like it's trying to be to me. So I think it's fine that it's so neutral. Yeah, I dig the Ergos. Let's talk action for a second. Action on this guy is stupid good. It's really, really good. It's riding on bearings, and it is a snappy little flipper. Like really, really snappy. I like that it's a nice lightweight blade. It's funny, I was just, right before this, I was doing my review of the Finch Holiday, and this feels just as snappy as that does. And now I feel like I'm repeating myself because I was just talking about how ridiculously snappy that knife was, but genuinely, it's just, like, the flipper tab is set up great, the detent is excellent on this guy, and it just pops. It's really, really good. In terms of closing it, it's nice and smooth. It's not drop shutty. I think if this had a big, heavy blade, it probably would be with how smooth it is, but it's very, very smooth. Just great. Very fun to fidget with. As a flipper-only knife, I find it's quite fun. Let's talk carry for a second. So carry on this guy, I'm going to say is decent. It's really good in some ways, but the pocket clip isn't my most favorite thing in the world. So this knife is crazy light, it's nice and small, and it's just like, it's a very comfortable dimension to have in your pocket. Dimensionally, it's very comfortable. It's a better way to say those words. I like the way this knife feels in my pocket, but what I don't love is the pocket clip leaves, for such a small knife, I feel like it's kind of a lot sticking out of your pocket. I just wish that it had a loop over style deep carry clip. That's my preference, not hiding the ball on that. I say that all the time. I prefer deep carry style clips. This one, as titanium clips go, I think it looks great. I think it feels very good in hand. It's not hot spotty at all or anything like that. It's got good amount of retention. It's easy in and out of the pocket. Like, there's a lot that's going for it well. I just wish it carried deeper, especially because a little knife like this that is so lightweight, I feel like kind of deserves to be deep carry, at least in my opinion. There may be an aftermarket clip that would fit this, although I don't know. This is a little bit of an obscure knife, but it's possible, so I don't know. I'd prefer deep carry, but in every way other than that, it carries absolutely flawless. Like, it's fantastic in pocket. It's like bug out level light. I mean, I don't know what the actual weight on is, but it's very, very light. So then that leaves us with cutting. This blade is a pretty reasonable blade stock. I wouldn't call this thick or thin, but it's got a nice full flat grind, which I already mentioned, and it comes down to a very thin behind the edge kind of geometry. It's got a very sharp factory edge on it, like very, very sharp. And it's nice. It's very, very good for all of the tasks that I think are reasonable to expect this knife to be good at. It's good at opening packages, it's good at cutting cardboard, it's good at cutting threads, it's good at slicing apples. I actually did, while I was in Portland, slice an apple with this, because I've said this in other videos, but my buddy's kitchen knives sucked, and so whatever knife I was carrying at the moment, if I was cutting my daughter's apple for the day, she eats a Honeycrisp apple every day, and if it's not Honeycrisp, she refuses. Anyways, this did great for cutting an apple, and then it just wiped down nice and easy, and it did great. Genuinely a very good cutter. So I'm impressed with it. I think it's a super well balanced, lightweight, nice, good looking, like handsome, kind of gentlemanly EDC knife. This knife would look good, I think, in slacks. I don't think it looks crazy to pull out of jeans either. Like, it's just a good approach to an everyday knife. And I think that's what's interesting about Laconico's knives. I probably mentioned this in another video before, but I've always kind of respected Laconico's knives, and I've heard so many good things about them, but I never really tried them just because they didn't jump out at me. I'd handled a couple. I always thought they felt good in hand, and there were some good things about them, but they just didn't have a wow factor. They weren't exciting to look at, and I don't think this one is that exciting to look at. I think it helps that it's got a cool handle material, although there are some voids in it, which I mentioned. But it's a nice looking knife, but it's not exciting. There's nothing crazy happening here, right? And so, having really experienced this one and tried carrying it and cutting with it and all that, I feel like I get it more now. I understand why so many people are big fans of Laconico's knives, because the simplicity is what makes it so good. It's not trying too hard. It's just doing all the right things well, and it's not doing anything more. It's not trying to go and look crazy. It's not trying to go and have a bunch of multiple deployment methods, or it's just a simple flipper, the simple blade, and a simple handle, and it's lightweight, and it's usable, and it feels good. That's what it boils down to. So, I've enjoyed this knife. Is it perfect? No. There's the little bit of voids in the handle. I would prefer a different pocket clip. But other than those little, like, kind of nitpicky things, it's great. It's genuinely really, really nice. I am planning to try soon the, I think it's called the EWC. That's the one that's like a dual detent front flipper or top flipper kind of thing. Looks really similar to this one. I'm curious to see how that one fares, because non-locking knives in general aren't really my thing. But yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. Anyways, I appreciate Kevin for loaning this to me. I think this is going to another reviewer next. So should be a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll see who gets it next. I want to say Everyday Minimalist is, but I can't promise that because I have a terrible memory. Anyway, I appreciate Kevin, LeftyEDC, for loaning this to me. He will be linked down below. Check out his channel if you haven't yet, and subscribe to him. He's a cool dude. So, thank you, everybody. I'll see you on the next one. This has been the Laconico EZC 1.5 from Monterey Bay Knives, and it's a cool one. Thanks.